Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account and says, my 24 female boyfriend, 27 male, booked our tickets for a different day. I'm tired, frustrated, and contemplating breaking up with him. What would you do in my place? I, 24 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 27 male, for 2 years long distance. We don't live together, but due to our demanding jobs, we try to see each other at least 3 times a month. Overall, I can say many positive things about our relationship. However, things took a turn a few weeks ago, and I can't seem to forgive him. For context, I'm very much a type A person. I need everything planned and to be in order. However, since I'm always planning things, with friends, boyfriend, or at work, I get worn down pretty quickly, and it takes a toll on my mood. He, on the other hand, is very laid back and goes through life with a "it is what it is" attitude. So naturally, it has always been me who's been planning activities, booking places to stay, sightseeing and holiday all throughout our relationship. A year ago, boyfriend got me tickets to my favorite artist, and I've been excited ever since. I still had to book transportation, hotel, and plan activities though, but I didn't mind as long as we could see the artist in time. Spoiler alert, we missed the concert because boyfriend booked the tickets for a different day and we couldn't get a refund. Safe to say, I've never been more disappointed in my life. I feel physically, emotionally, and financially drained, and that I can't rely on him. I decided we need to go on a break, and I've been talking with my friends and my therapist about what to do. My therapist said that I'm processing it as betrayal and a breach of trust. My friends are telling me it's up to me if I want to continue the relationship, but if they were in my shoes, they couldn't trust him with anything ever again. I understand that it's a mistake anyone could have made, and in the end it's not that serious. He's apologized about 1,000,000 times and feels very sorry about how he let me down. But at the same time, all this pent-up frustration that's inside me keeps reminding me that he had one job and still managed to ruin the experience for me. Of course, not everything is black and white. Besides this character flaw, he's a very good boyfriend, kind, funny, and we have the same opinions on politics, human rights, etc. Basically, all the serious life stuff. I can't seem to get over this mistake though. We were planning on getting married and spending the rest of our lives together, yet I don't want to end up being the only one pulling the weight. Advice would be greatly appreciated. Edit. There seems to be some confusion regarding booking and tickets. There were 2 concerts. One was happening on the 31st and second was on the 1st. Boyfriend told me we had tickets for the second concert, so I booked everything in accordance to that. Then on the 1st he realized we had tickets for the 31st. So the day after we were supposed to attend the concert. Also, only he had access to the tickets. Hope that clears it up a bit. Edit 2. So far I've seen people from 3 stances in the comments. Break up with him, or I will have to manage him for the rest of my life. Give him a chance with a set of boundaries, or I'm actually neurotic and he should break up with me. I've done some introspection and considering all the facts, even mental load, distance, how long we'd still be apart, my reaction, I've drafted a message explaining how I felt, highlighting how much I still care about him. I've also written a few questions to ask him about the future of our relationship. He probably thought a lot about our relationship as well, and if he doesn't want to be with me, I'm not going to force him. I'll ask him probably next week. Not sure if anyone wants an update on that though. Overall, this situation has saddened me, and I feel extremely uncertain about my future. Thank you to all the kind Redditors who actually offered great advice. The first commenter came in, and just to note, this was a downvoted comment, and it said, "Is that all it takes for you to not trust him? So things didn't go as planned, so what? You're both alive and able to laugh about it and stick together to fix it, and that would be the first thing I would do. Therapist is right, you are feeling betrayed, but it happened, and he's not betraying you. You feel that way because you talk about him like he has betrayed you, and never go to your friends for advice unless they're living the life you want, because what do they know? They're not in the same place you are, and if your life is built on planned and organization, and you can get it together with your man, then I'd say your love is on a conditional basis. And that ain't right, top priority planner? Not really sure the end of that comment. OP says, I understand that, but as I said, I've been the one planning pretty much everything. And the one time he planned the trip, he couldn't bother checking the exact date for a year. And I still had to book everything without his help. It makes me feel alone, disrespected, and that he doesn't care about me. This planned trip got my hopes up. I made us matching t-shirts and have been talking about it for a year, and in the end it was all for nothing. Commenter says, I'm kinda confused why you'd book everything without checking the dates of the tickets first. This seems like a bit of an odd hill to end the relationship on, as both are at fault unless I'm missing something. In general though, if the relationship is making you this frustrated, then you're probably just not compatible anymore, and that's perfectly fine. OP says, he told me the date, but it wasn't the correct one. He thought we were going to see the artist on the 1st, but we actually had the tickets on the 31st. He checked the tickets the day after our supposed concert. Before that, he hadn't checked them for an entire year. It kept telling me the concert was happening on the 1st. Also, he had access to the tickets, so that makes a bit more sense. So there was a long comment that was talking about the compatibility and are they on the same page with other things, and OP responded saying, thank you for your kind words. I do believe the relationship isn't simply black and white. While being with him, I believe we both grew as people and gave each other strength. I also don't want to dictate everything we do. I'm not some kind of control freak, even if this post might make me out to be one. We had a similar issue regarding planning a holiday. I had to choose the destination, accommodation, search for fun activities we could do, we'd both enjoy. And when asking about his input, I was met with, I don't care as long as we're together, and other, in my opinion, passive comments. I expressed to him jokingly, we can compromise, and he is allowed to share his opinion or plan an activity, but I never confronted him head on, so that might have been a mistake on my part. At first, it was attractive to me that he didn't stress about things that were out of his control, and I felt grounded by him and more at ease. But this mindset can't be applied in these serious circumstances. Other than that, the relationship's been nice so far, but I feel like this fiasco has shown me I can't really rely on him. I feel disrespected and defeated. I'm very emotional right now and don't want to make a serious decision, hence why I asked for an unbiased opinion. Someone said, is he laid back at work? Does he forget dates and miss work deadlines? Or is it just with you? OP says, I actually have no idea, but his work is very serious and he uses a planner, so I doubt he has problems with the dates at work. In his personal life, I had to remind him of his sister's birthday, even though he has it marked on his planner. I'm starting to think he's bad with dates in general. Another commenter says, please free this man so he doesn't have to deal with some neurotic woman. He harbors intense bitterness over an honest mistake to the point she needs to put the relationship on hold. It must be absolute hell being OP mentally. OP says, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I know how to let loose. In regards to serious matters like doctor's visits, traveling or holiday, I want them planned so I minimize possible stressful situations that are out of my control. We've had issues in the past and we've communicated about them calmly. It's very bold of you to assume that I'm neurotic, just because I want to be responsible and actually enjoy the event my boyfriend got me as a gift. And one final commenter says, I would ask if I've brought up this issue before and think back on how he's responded. Same with the apologizing. Is it acknowledging the wrongdoing and vocalizing steps to do better, or is it simply, oops, that's how I am, forgetful and irresponsible? I'd also compare if the go with the flow is the same when it's his things, like if he forgets to do his own things that are important to him. It may be forgetfulness or some ADHD kind of thing. OP says, I brought it up before, only jokingly though. Something along the lines of, you can also voice your input or plan something. You don't have to be afraid of me. So that's been a mistake on my part. In regards to apologizing, he said he's sorry that he's effed up multiple times, that he'll fix it. But the artist won't come to our area anytime soon. So for now, I think those are just empty promises. I don't believe he has ADHD, but I'm not ruling it out completely. He also books buses and trains for him often very last minute, but regarding his trips abroad, he plans everything. And as we see in a lot of these stories, for me as I was reading it, it's not about the initial title. Sure, that's the straw that broke the camel's back, but it comes across about being consistently the only adult in the relationship. Well, he sort of tags along on your efforts. That's going to be frustrating for anyone, I think. And as I was reading it, OP sounds pretty mentally checked out already. Sure, there's the possibility of an honest conversation and just letting this all out, saying, if this doesn't change, this is going to be the end for us. Simple as that. But OP does sound pretty done already. But anyway, 1.5 months later, OP came in with an update and says, "Hi everyone, not sure if this will get buried or not, but a few people have asked for an update. First off, I want to thank everyone who gave me feedback in my previous post and shared the link. I thought a lot about other people's experiences and did a lot of self-reflection. Here's the update to my previous post. So, long story short, we broke up amicably. For those who want the longer version with a bit of a recap of the entire situation, I omitted a lot of details and lied about our personal lives, just so I could get truly unbiased opinions. To tell the truth, I'm a med student, got into med school a bit later because, well, life happened. He's just finished law school. At the time of the concert, I had to study for my anatomy final and could not have any distractions. I told myself that the concert would be a great treat to myself during this tough time period. We'd arrived at his friend's place where we'd be staying, and to be honest, I've never felt so unwelcomed and out of place in my entire life. Me, my boyfriend, let's call him Jim, his friend Jane and her boyfriend John decided to go to a restaurant in the evening, and Jane basically didn't acknowledge me for the entire evening. Every time Jim had to leave the table, Jane would turn to John and pretend I wasn't there. I then heard her say that after dinner, she'd like to go get something cheap and sweet to eat, to which I proposed a certain shop in the city we were in. Jane replied that it smelled there. After asking how did the shop smell, she looked me in the eyes, laughed and said it smelled like poor people. When Jim returned, I took him aside and told him what Jane had said to me, to which he just laughed. For the rest of the evening, it was clear I was sticking out from the group because the conversation topics were about things I had no knowledge about, so I couldn't participate in them. So I sat in silence until we came back to Jane's flat. I then cried in the shower. I felt completely useless. Like the evening would have gone exactly the same whether I was there or not. The next day, the ticket incident happened. Jim checked the tickets and realized he booked them for the day before. I tried to get the tickets and was contacted by a scammer and got scammed circa €80. Already talked to the police, but they put the investigation on hold. During this time, Jim kept repeating how stupid he was and that he would fix everything, just didn't know how. The artist won't come to our country anytime soon, by the way. Jim also never said how he would prevent similar mistakes from happening again. After that, I didn't speak to him for almost 2 weeks and took to Reddit. In the end, I decided to give him one last chance and said probably both of us should work on our communication. He said he didn't expect me to give him another chance, didn't know how to react. So he thought it over for 12 plus hours and didn't contact me. During this time, I kind of emotionally accepted he didn't want to be with me anymore. The next day, Jim agreed to give it another try, but the excuses started. He kept telling me he would be jobless during the summer, money would be tight, we wouldn't be able to travel anywhere, that I should enjoy my summer, etc. To me, it sounded like he wanted an out, but didn't want to be the bad guy and proposed a breakup. Come to find out, he wasn't as broke as he was telling me, because he attended a film and music festival. Doing the math, he probably spent around €300. So I messaged him that I'm tired. He didn't even say sorry after Jane insulted me. I didn't see him making any effort in planning our future and owning up to his mistakes. We wished each other well, we'd be open to communication if we ever crossed paths again. And I now feel like somebody close to me died. Rationally, I know I did the right thing, but I've never broken up with anyone amicably before, and grieving this relationship is extremely hard on me. Thank you for reading, and take care. Commenter says to OP, breakups suck, even when they're the right decision. Let yourself grieve the future you wanted. Cry. Watch movies that make you cry more. It will get easier. I hope your finals went well. OP says yes, thankfully I passed. Thank you for your kind words. Another commenter says breakups always suck, but you definitely did the right thing. Anyone who would laugh at Jane saying the place you suggested smells like poor people is not someone you want to build a life with. Commenter says I don't want to indulge in this whole classism thing, but to be honest, Jim comes from a worse financial situation than me. Jane has generational wealth, and I think he didn't confront her because he would lose access to the perks of being her friend. After thinking about that moment so many times, I I couldn't come up with any other explanation. OP responds to a longer comment talking about the future of her relationship with Jim and says, I told him I needed to think about the future of our relationship and we should limit contact. Both of us had finals coming up and to be honest, I didn't want any distractions. We exchanged a few texts, wished each other good luck on our exams, but we were not on speaking terms as before. It wasn't intended as a punishment, but a deep thinking about all the emotional draining things that had happened in such a short time. Looking back, I know I should have done things differently, so I'll keep that in mind moving forward. Someone questions about their nationalities and OP says, we're the same nationality, but I study in the neighboring country. If either one of us wanted to visit the other, it would take 2.5 to 3 hours of travel. When OP started the update and was saying what they do and he works in a law firm, and I thought, you know, he must have planning down to a T at work. Surely when you work in law, you got all sorts of deadlines and all kinds of things that have to be spot on. But then at home, he's not even doing the basics. It just sounds like weaponized incompetence in the end, doesn't it? Well, for me anyway. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story says, would I be the arsehole for asking my roommate to stop using my bathroom as much? For reference, I live in a townhouse. My bedroom and bathroom are on the main floor, and the other 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms are upstairs. Under the lease, the bathroom downstairs is assigned to me, bed 1 and bath 1. So even though it's the only one on that level, it's under my name. Don't get me wrong, if you're just hanging out downstairs and have to use the bathroom, I don't mind. But my roommate uses that bathroom as his bathroom pretty much. When he wakes up in the morning, he goes directly to mine. He spends 30+ minutes in there before work, and he makes it smell so incredibly bad. He does not shower, so it's gross and smells like BO. I also want to add that his bathroom has cat poop all over the floor and smells like uncleaned litter. It shouldn't be my fault that he won't clean his bathroom, and I don't want to be cleaning up after him. We are friendly enough, but there are countless other problems he causes, so this isn't the first straw. It's not just this though. He's basically invaded the whole downstairs level and treats it like his bedroom. He has his own room and a private bathroom, and it's really starting to bother me that he is using what's supposed to be my space for the most part the way he is. Absolutely not the arsehole in my opinion. That would get on my tits as well. He's got his own bathroom for personal use, but he just doesn't look after it, so it's like a shit pit at the moment. But you clean yours and that's why he's using it. Guy sounds absolutely grim letting his own bathroom get to the state that it's in, but Mountain Goat says not the arsehole. If the lease states that the bathroom is yours and he's spending so much time in there, it is really reasonable to ask him to cut it out. If he refuses, you may want to consider locking it so he can't access it. OP responds saying, yeah, it's very hard to talk to him about things though, because he takes everything extremely personally, even if I'm nice about it. Sadly, there is no way for me to lock the door from the outside, and I'm not allowed to change the locks. Westkit says not the arsehole, but if you told him this, it sounds like a serious problem. I'd put a lock on the door until it stops. OP says I can't change the lock sadly. I brought it up a few times, but he doesn't really take me seriously. Careful Point says not the arsehole. He has his own for personal use, and it is very disrespectful to use yours for an extended period of time to get ready in. Also, you really should tell him to clean up the cat poop or contact someone about it. That is so unhealthy and disgusting, not to mention unfair to the cat. OP says yeah, he has 2 cats. He claims he cleans up after them, but his brother always calls him out for not doing it. He doesn't even get ready in there. Too much information, just sits on the toilet the whole time. OP comes back into the post and says thank you everyone for your input, I really appreciate it a lot. It has helped me decide which direction to talk and how to approach the situation. I talked to his brother, who is moving here next year, and he agreed to sit with me and talk to him. I've decided that somebody needs to hold him accountable for his actions, and he can't keep living like a slob. It's not fair to me to be living and paying rent when I can't even consider my space my own. He has responsibilities, and he needs to take care of them because they're affecting himself and everyone else around him. Update 2. So I sat down with him and his brother last night, and it went pretty much as expected. I told him that he has his own space and he should be using it, and not what's supposed to be my space as his own. I also told him that he can't keep using the living room as his bedroom, because again, he has his own space. I also talked to one of our other roommates and we both agreed that he can only sleep in the living room 3 nights a week. I wish it could be none at all, but it's a compromise. I also brought up the cats and he needs to be cleaning the litter every day, especially when he's responsible for 2 of them. He responded with a pity party about how his life is so hard and he doesn't want to change, and tears. He claimed that he is going to clean everything today, but we'll see if that actually happens. We stopped talking about it for a while because he was in shutdown mode. I brought up being in the living room thing again and he kept saying that he didn't understand and that I was asking too much. In reality, all I really said was that if he comes home from work and spends an hour or 2 down there and then goes upstairs or leaves to do something else, that's fine. But if he's coming home from work, planting himself down and not moving until the next day then repeat, that's where the issue is. He told me that I could just ask him to get up and move, but I don't feel like I should have to do that. There should be times where the living room is open and we can all have our own time to spend in there. I know I'm typing a lot, but if anyone has questions, I could go into more detail. I get fed up with that nonsense pretty quickly, especially if he's not willing to budge. Some people just need to hear, I wouldn't be compromising on the 3 nights. He shouldn't be sleeping down in the living room. That's a shared space. He should be respectful of that, sleeping in his own bedroom. If there's a bigger issue going on, he needs to speak about it or do something, because it's not working and it's making everyone else around him uncomfortable, which just isn't fair. But what about you guys? How would you deal with this situation? Have you ever had yourself a nightmare roommate? How did you deal with them? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.